This is a question that was in last year's paper, 2024, and people found it more tricky than perhaps it is. It's about records. So a record is like a data structure that allows you to store various data type attributes under one name, essentially. So they've given us a fill-in, so like a fill-in of the record here, and there's some information that's useful in the question. So it's telling us it's about books, it's telling us it's using records, and it says that it should create a definition, a record definition called book. So it's going to be called book. And then we've already got book name, which is a string data type. So the next one here is author. So author is also a string, because it's going to be a name. And then we've got price. Now we've got a table here to choose things from, and we've already chosen book. We've already chosen author. So the other things we could choose, we need a data type that's suitable for price. The only one really here that's suitable for price is real, so a real number. So real numbers are any number. So essentially it's any number on the number line, so it could be 7.97 or 7.99997 or anything of that nature, but we know that we're going to need pence on this, pounds and pence, and seeing as we don't have a currency type or anything like that they've given us, then real is the best option here. So we're choosing real. The last thing we need to fill in, they've given us B1, which is going to be the name of a book, or the name of a record of a book, and we need to fill in B2. Actually, it's not too difficult, because all we have to do is fill in book here, because they gave us that idea up there. So we fill that in. So now we've got B1 and B2, and they've asked us to do some pseudocode. They don't often ask to write pseudocode, but they've asked us to write a bit of pseudocode here for this algorithm. So if we just move it up here a bit, so we've got some space. Write a pseudocode algorithm to display the name of the most expensive book. So we've only got two books, B1 and B2. The most expensive is B1. We can see that by looking at the record, but we need to write an algorithm to find that out. And we need to try to do it in pseudocode. It's not desperate as to what kind of pseudocode you use, but normally we use dot notation for records. So if I want to find the author of B1, I might say B1 dot author. And I could allocate that to a variable like this. So that kind of notation is probably something we're going to use. So I just want to compare B1 and B2 price. So I might say if B1 dot price is more than B2 dot price. And sometimes with pseudocode, we write the thens in. So, you know, our if structures are if then else type of structures, or if then else if type of structures. It's just that if we're using Python, we use just if, and there's no thens, and it's elif, but it's the same idea. So if b1.price is more than b2.price, then you know, we'd normally say print, but in pseudocode we often say output. And you might see some of these examples in the paper when they've written pseudocode, which you could look back on and see what it might look like. So we need to output the book name. That's what it says. Yeah, the book name there. So if B1's more, we're outputting that. We might say else if B1.price if it's less than B2 dot price, then we're going to output B2 dot book name. And if they're the same, we could do a test for that, or it doesn't ask us to, so we could just have a catch-all kind of else idea that would do the same thing, and we'll just tells us what to do actually. Output neither if the books are the same. So we'll just output neither. And if we want to be really complete on our pseudocode, we'll end our if statement. So we've got an if, an else if rather, and an else, and an end if. And that gets us our 3 points. So the bit that we're really interested in here is that you could use this kind of notation for B1.price and B2.price and .book name, etc., based upon the previous part of the question, which was when we did the filling in bit and they gave us this B1 and B2 idea. So when we want to refer to an attribute in a record, the record name is going to be in here as book, author, real, etc. But we're creating a new book and calling it B1. So when we create a book, that's a book record, we're giving it a name. So in this case, we gave it the name B1, but it could have been anything. So that's just the assignment statement there. It's assigning a whole book record to a single variable name, and that variable name then could be .author, .price, .book name, anything like that. So that's the way that they work with those records. It was actually a relatively straightforward question in the paper, but a lot of people struggled with it because they hadn't really seen records very much perhaps before. But it's something that they do put in the paper, and so it would be really useful if you got your head around that one.